Now, this is actually a good segue to go into further NFL nonsense.
Punishment,
right? Mm-hmm. Deshaun Watson was found to be guilty, and he was suspended 6 games by the third-party arbiter, right? The judge said that 6 games is enough. You know, what he did was reprehensible. Everybody, we all understand. We all in agreement that he's a creep. And the judge said the same thing, 6 games. And here comes the NFL and said, wait a second. You gave him 6 games. Yeah, we're going to give him 6 games because in your bylaws, I am not going to change the rules that you put in place.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give him more than what you've given other people. That don't make sense.
I'm an arbiter. My job is to look at the rules, laws,
look at the facts,
make a judgment
and make
what you give me.
Exactly.
Not to rewrite your NFL.
Not to rewrite your history. You do that. So in tail, what does the NFL do? Now they filed the appeal and they want to suspend Deshaun Watson indefinitely, at least a year,
and then
at least a year,
$8 to $10 million.
And right. So they want to put a fine on it. And what they did was they hired their own third-party arbiter. But guess what? This arbiter has worked for the NFL before. So it's basically saying, okay, this third-party arbiter who has no business with the NFL made a decision. We don't like that, so we're going to get our own guy to make the decision for us.
Which is crazy because people have been crying, oh, Roger Goodell has too much power, you can't use the hammer. But this is the one case where if he just dropped the hammer and said, Deshaun, 12 games to a year, however $1 million.
Nobody would have said anything.
No one would have said anything.
Nobody would have said anything.
But you chose not to go that route.
Right.
You can't double back. Now you have to rip up whatever new laws you just made for this. Now you got to rip those up because you just went back against everything.
You got to remember. You got to remember this though. He can't really just say this is the case where I'm going to choose to do this.
Yes, he can.
Wait, listen.
He actually can though, Al.
He can, but he can't.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, before this got decided and everything like that, we already agreed to everything through the CBA.
Right.
So everything through the CBA already said that we got to play this process.
Correct.
So Deshaun Watson and his lawyers already knew that if the NFL didn't get what they wanted in this situation, this is what the NFL was going to do. Right. The NFL might not have wanted to do this in this situation, but this is what they're forced to do. And you're a public company, and you have to sit there and appease to the public, and the public outcry was definite on this.
And also,
which is why he could have dropped the hammer.
And but see, I understand what Al is saying, Jeff, because it's in their CBA that they have to go to the third party arbiter to do certain cases that they don't want to rule themselves, to have that look of, okay, well, you guys didn't even give it a chance to have somebody else hear it. It's a public outcry, certain things. So they had to go that way. But then they still have the power to go the other way. So they have control of both aspects of the rule.
In the CBA, Roger Goodell has final say. In their new process, what Roger Goodell and the NFLPA agreed to was from now on, we're both going to agree to a couple of third-party people.
Correct.
Whenever we have cases like this, we're just going to listen to whatever these people say.
Right.
So Roger Goodell still has ultimate power, but he kind of put in like maybe a new edict, like, hey, we're going to at least try this. My whole thing is you not have to rip that up because the very first case that
you went back.
You went back and you appealed.
Yeah.
So it's like it was ugly this is always going to be ugly. My whole thing is when we talked, I thought that the NFL shouldn't appeal specifically because this is a new set of rules that you put in place, so you have to at least let it play out. But then once you appeal, Deshaun Watson's camp is now going to countersue. They might not win, but it's going to happen within the NFL season. And now the headline of this NFL season
is Deshaun
Watson versus the NFL.
Instead of all the other great moves.
Because at the end of the day, when he comes back next year, as long as he starts playing good football, we're only going to be talking about
and nobody's going to remember.
And it's not that they're going to remember. We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So why would you enhance that or lengthen that specifically for public outcry? Not to say the women aren't wrong for being upset because 50% of the viewers are women, but now you're compounding something. At the end of the day, we learned through Ray Rice that the ratings are going to dip, but they're going to come back. We learned through Kaepernick the ratings are going to dip, they're going to come back. All y'all really care about is ratings. Let's not pretend that
and the money.
Know. So we know that your ratings are going to dip for the first couple of weeks, but it's gonna come back. Y'all just extended this whole thing, and that's my thing.
But the NFL really approached this wrong from the
100%.
jump. from the jump.
1,000%.
From the beginning of the situation, by trying to make this a situation of right and wrong, of he did this and he did that, this is justice, this is not. The NFL should have approached it from an employer-employee situation. They should have said, you're my employee, you've made me look bad, I don't appreciate that, this is what my punishment is for making me look bad. I give a damn whatever the
I don't care
the
what
judge says, whatever the court says,
Exactly.
whatever this, I don't even care. But
Exactly.
like, not to say that the victims don't deserve care, but I don't care what the victim said. You've made me look bad and you've put me in a position. This is our contract. I'll pay you whatever pittance I got to pay you out of my pocket. But you can't sit there and be in my organization if this is how you've made me look.
Nah, I agree. I agree. I think at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is that, okay, he didn't do anything criminal, right? It's not criminal. He's not in criminal court and all that stuff. But what he did was morally reprehensible, right?
Nasty
that
man.
comes with its own consequences. Like, you can't do this and think that you're gonna be able to just show up to my facility and be fine.
Yeah.
Like, you just did some wild shit. And at the end of the day, the reason why the judge, the third party arbiter, even gave him 6 games was she said that he showed no remorse. None. He showed up late the first time they met, and he continues to show no remorse about the situation. So it's like, that's even further, more evidence that I know as an organization, okay, now I gotta get you. Because you're not even sorry for what you did. So you don't care about your actions. You're going to do what you're going to do, and you're going to continue to embarrass me, embarrass all the other people that support you. Now I'm going to drop the hammer down on you just because of principle.
Yeah, that's why they want indefinite suspension, because if you only give him a couple of games, no matter what, he can always go back and just come back after those games. Indefinite suspension, it's like, oh no, we need you
to do certain things, right? And if you don't do it,
counselor, and see where you're at, and if you're not at the place where we want you,
then
to
we
be,
still gonna keep you suspended.
Still gonna keep you suspended.
Well, even the whole way this process played out, because they came out and they said we wanted indefinite suspension.
Right.
That's what they said to the public.
Yeah.
Then they went down to Deshaun Watson and said, look, this is what we said to the
Exactly.
public. We'll do 12 and 8 mil. You give us 12 and 8 mil, we'll walk away from that. Deshaun said, no, I think I could do better.
Right.
And granted, he did do better. But now they said we got the power at the end of the day, so now we're gunning for that indefinite. So we want that indefinite. We want you to have to come back to Goodell. We want you to sit there and have to go through this process, and you got to prove to me that you're not the nasty man anymore before you can sit there and come back and play the field.
And then the money, the agent and the Browns structured their contracts so they only makes $1 million.
Right, so because they knew it was coming.
Yeah. They knew it was coming. So him losing first, so that's not even a fine because you're just losing game checks.
Right.
The fines you literally go to check.
Because they backloaded the deal because of
that. And that's a slap to the face of the NFL,
process.
So the process. So, I mean, listen, whatever happens
dirty
to him,
business, bro. It's complete dirty business.
I'm just speaking of the legalities of everything. Right. Like, we can discuss that.
Like, I feel like it's a bigger game. The Texans are at fault. That's why they
big time
pay people.
But I don't look at it like that, though, Claude. I don't. I look at it like it's like a kid that fucked up. You're the parent. You know that your kid fucked up. And you go into the person and say, listen, I understand what happened. I understand that this is the situation. We both know that he's a screw up. Here's money to be able to compensate you for your trouble. The Texans don't necessarily have to be liable for whatever happened. They're just looking at it like, yo, we know that this dude is a dumb out. We understand that what he did. And the only way that we're going to be able to help you guys is to give you financial compensation for your trouble because he's a dumb out. But they don't have to be guilty in regards to what they did. They're just a parent in the situation that has a fucked up kid.
A lot of people were mad at that NDA that the Texans gave to Deshaun Watson in the middle of the season. Whatever. Everybody gets the NDA.
Every team does that.
I don't even got to know what you're doing.
Right.
Like, take this NDA. I don't want to know what you're doing. Don't get us in trouble.
Don't let it get back to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It happens all the time. Listen, it's dirty business all around. Dirty business all around.
People winning this are Craigslist, because I've definitely been back on Craigslist a few times.
Did you went to go get on the couch?
I was looking for massager.
You were looking for a masseuse?
I definitely need a new couch. No.
I really blame D-Hop in this.
Listen,
D-Hop?
I really blame Hopkins.
Why?
Because Hopkins should have said, "Look, I got these girls for you. They'll take care of you."
But Deshaun
somebody should have had a conversation.
Deshaun ain't
with
gotta listen to that though, because he would have looked at D-Hop like, all right, cool. So you got these nice numbers, but I know I can go on Craigslist right now and get about 40 of these joints. So for your 266, I get like 40 of them over here. And Deshaun and D-Hop looking at him like, all right, man, I tried.
Even
I tried
Edelman
to
threw a
tell you.
shot at him. He was like, "Yo, man, I came to the Patriots. We had a lot of good leaders. They kept us in check. They kept us from doing stupid things like getting massages every week. I mean, just catching strays everywhere.
Yo,
man.
dude, like Deshaun
He
Watson.
was wilding, bro. Like I be wanting to defend him sometimes, just on some man shit.
You can't.
But like you can't.
Nah, you can't
son.
defend it.
You can't.
And
And you know
so
the thing.
many layers.
You know
bro.
the thing that bothers me too
I
about
want
the
to talk to
decision.
his friends though. Come, like, how
What
you
friends?
let your mans do this?
The friends that are getting money for him.
Oh yeah,
The friends that are just collecting a check.
wow.
Yeah, Deshaun, you doing what you doing, man. Just make sure my 100,000 is in the bank. You know what I mean? Like the yes men. Yes men's always gonna be around.
But that's a completely different.
Listen,
And at the end of the day, you should have known that they weren't really going to hand out any type of big punishment to Deshaun, because at the end of the day, like the women who got victimized in this situation, you're talking about middle class to lower middle class black women trying to start businesses.
Right.
Like these aren't people that people are going to really try to protect. They're not people that they
That's a good
normally
point.
try to protect. So you should have never expected anything harsh to really come down for it.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
these women are faceless. These women are nameless in a lot of situations outside of the one who really put herself out there.
right?
Like,
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Alex.
that's
a
a
good
great.
point.
That's a great point. That's definitely. And another good point that hasn't been made that I believe you made is in a phone conversation. People need to stop putting Calvin Ridley and anybody with PEDs.
Free Ridley.
Free Ridley, but like there are things that are in the NFL laws already. Upsetting the competitive balance, gambling. These are things that they've settled on years and years and years ago. Sadly, when they settled on those things all those years ago, domestic violence didn't rank anywhere near the top of that list.
Ridley
so we
bet-
don't have. I understand what you're saying, but they already have precedents for certain things. We have those in the actual laws. This is a sport, so if you're taking a drug, I can put in my laws of my sport. This is the type of games, or is this suspension, this is the punishment. I can't always regulate how you're going to treat your wife when you go home. And I can't always have that in my rule
And the
book.
thing is, it was such a cut and dry bylaws that they set instead of broadening it and understanding that future cases can be worse than this. Because you think about Zeke's 6-game suspension, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was alleged for domestic abuse, right?
Yeah.
Alleged, he got the 6 games. This is a guy that is a repeat offender of multiple cases. So how does it still, like, for that, you have, like, they never thought about, what if somebody is out there and got like 50 charges, 50 cases? They never thought about that.
But I mean,
And it's
why
like-
wouldn't you just multiply it though? I mean, they had
It
four.
doesn't work that way.
Look, they had 4 people come up, right?
Yeah.
Zeke came up and Zeke had 1 person.
One.
So they had 4 people that they considered. 6, well, that's 24, right?
But
no, but it's still one incident.
it's still one incident.
still one.
Yeah.
That's 4 incidents.
No. Watson's not a repeat offender. He didn't get in trouble for any. You found out about all 24 at once.
Right.
You didn't find out about one and then 3 months later another. And then you found out pretty much about all of them in one time frame.
Okay.
If he does this again 2 years from now.
Or 5 years from now,
Or 5 years from now, that's a completely different story rather than finding out everything at once.
If Watson get a speeding ticket 2 years from now, he deserves everything he got.
If he's late on his taxes,
He deserves everything he gets. And like the OJ situation,
Yeah.
like,
They-
if you mess up again
man,
after
listen,
this,
they continue to hammer
You
my
deserve
man
everything
OJ.
you got.
Son. Like they tried to get my man OJ too many times after that. He got off. Leave him alone. All right, leave him alone.